Thank you, Your Worship. Director Cole and myself have authored this report. It details the actions of two members of the Collingwood District Volunteer Fire Department subsequent to the event that happened on February 21st in Poison Lake, and the recommendations that we have for council in dealing with those actions. So as we all know, on Friday evening, February 21st, snowmobile accident occurred in the Poison Lake area of rural Cumberland County. A man in his 20s was reported to be seriously injured, and as part of the emergency response, the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department, along with other first responders, were dispatched to the scene. For purpose of this report, the municipality has relied solely on the information released by the RCMP in determining fact related to the events at the incident scene. The RCMP will, through their processes, eventually make final determination of these facts. The key fact, for purposes of this report, is contained in the official RCMP media release of Monday, February 24th, 2025, and that is, and I quote, "The driver of the snowmobile, a 28-year-old Spring Hill man, was struck by a fire truck while being attended to in the roadway," close quote. Sadly, this young man, Blake Nicholson, passed away, and our sincere condolences are extended to his family and friends in this community. This incident and the one that followed has sparked outrage in the community and created serious concerns regarding the leadership of the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department. In reading this report, it is important to note that fire departments in Cumberland County are operated as independent and autonomous societies. Chiefs are elected by the membership of the departments and are responsible for the day-to-day operation of their departments. Chiefs and other officers are not appointed, nor are they approved by the municipality. Bylaw does now allow for the discharge of a chief in certain circumstances. The municipality provides operating and funding capital to these departments, but chiefs and members are not employees of the municipality. Now to the first of the incidents and the aftermath of that. For purposes of conclusions related to the actions of Cotton and Bishop, the municipality relied mainly on informal conversations with the local RCMP and telephone and in-person conversations with Cotton and with Bishop and other responding members of the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department, as well as multiple public reports of a further incident that occurred on Monday, February 24th, 2025. This report speaks to the actions of two members of the department in the hours and days subsequent to the incident. At varying times through the hours and days subsequent to the incident, Gerald Jake Cotton and Andrea Bishop were each chief or acting chief of the department. Cotton and Bishop were both riding in the department rescue truck that responded. Cotton was driving. As noted previously, the RCMP have concluded that the victim was struck by the fire truck. The municipality was not proactively informed of this incident by the department. A member of council was informed in the community of the incident on Saturday morning, February 22nd. The council member contacted Bishop, who shared that they had attended the scene and the young man had passed away. Given that it was a snowmobile incident and guessing that perhaps it happened off-road, the council member asked whether they were able to reach the scene with the truck. She responded that they were able to reach the scene with the truck, but did not mention the fact that there had been any contact on the roadway between the fire truck and the victim or his snowmobile. Nor did she mention that the fire truck had been seized by the RCMP as part of the investigation. The member of council then reported this to me, the CAO, on Saturday morning. I immediately contacted the Director of Protective Services, Alan Cole, who's here with us this afternoon, with direction to verify the information. And as well as it became obvious that the incident hadn't yet been reported to our insurers, I directed that notification be made, and it was done immediately. Director Cole and I remained from that point forward in constant contact through the weekend and on Monday with the department, the RCMP, and with updates to Mayor Gilroy as the details of the incident became available and, as we'll see, evolved and developed. Director Cole was informed on Saturday by local RCMP that all details were not yet verified, but that it appeared the fire truck clipped the snowmobile at the scene as it was arriving, and that as part of the investigation, both the snowmobile and the truck have been seized. Director Cole contacted Bishop, who advised that the truck had clipped the snowmobile but not the victim. Director Cole met later that day in person with both Cotton and Bishop, who maintained that they did not strike the victim. He asked Cotton to step aside from all duties with the department pending the outcome of the investigation, and he agreed. Bishop was designated by the department to be the acting chief. Based on the informal RCMP conversations and the conversations with both Cotton and Bishop, the municipality issued a media release on Sunday, notifying the public of the incident, expressing condolences to the family, friends of the victim, and indicating the incident was under investigation, that Cotton had stepped aside from all duties in the department pending the outcome of the investigation. Later on Sunday, February 23rd, it was learned that the RCMP had responded to a media request by email indicating the fire truck had struck the victim. They confirmed this position on Monday, February 23rd, with an official media release. This was contrary to the information previously provided, and the municipality sought an explanation from the RCMP, who responded that the circumstances had changed. This, of course, prompted the municipality to contact Cotton and Bishop, who maintained that the victim was not struck. One responding member of the department who was present spoke with Director Cole and shared their opinion that it was possible that the truck slid into the victim on the way by. There was a second incident that is relative to the conclusions that we'll present at the end of the report. The second incident is the medical call on Monday, February 21st, 2025. And on that morning, the department was dispatched to provide medical assistance at a residence in its coverage area. Acting Chief Bishop chose to have Cotton, who had agreed to step aside from all departmental duties, drive her to the scene. Family members observed Cotton in the truck delivering Bishop, and the family advised the department members responding that their assistance was not required. With these two incidents in mind, Director Cole and I began to draw conclusions as to the appropriateness of these actions and to turn our minds to the options of how we might deal with these officers. There were two main options, and I'll talk about the first one first. Option one was the discharge of Gerald Jake Cotton and Andrea Bishop as chiefs of the department. Talk a little bit about the authority to do that. In 2024, the municipality enacted a bylaw to establish and regulate the fire departments in the municipality of the County of Cumberland. The bylaw came into effect in February of 2024. It's important to note that it does not have retroactive application prior to that date. Prior to the effective date of this bylaw, the municipality did not have the authority to discharge a chief. Included in this new bylaw, however, is a code of conduct. And I'll read the excerpt that's relevant. Section 18 of the bylaw says, all members of the fire department shall be of good character and shall, A, conduct themselves with decorum when on duty and be courteous and respectful when dealing with the public. B, not engage in any activity that is illegal or might reasonably be expected to bring their fire department into disrepute. Or C, not engage in any activity while on duty that can reasonably be expected to tarnish, impair, or otherwise negatively impact the reputation of the fire service in the municipality. Moving on, Section 19 provides the authority for discipline should a member or chief be found to breach that code of conduct. Section 19 says, any member who breaches the code of conduct in Section 18 of this bylaw may be subject to disciplinary action up to and including discharge in accordance with the procedures of the fire department to which they are a member, or in the absence of such procedures by the fire chief of the member's fire department. In the case of a fire chief who has breached the code of conduct or who fails to fulfill the duties of their office, disciplinary action up to and including discharge shall be by the council upon the recommendation of the Director of Protective Services and the Chief Administrative Officer. Talk a little bit about the breach of code of conduct. Based on the information contained herein, it is the opinion of the authors, Director Cole and myself, apparent that both Cotton and Bishop have breached the code of conduct set out in Section 18 of the bylaw. Specifically, 1, they were not completely truthful in their reporting, their knowledge of, nor the details of the incident in which the fire truck struck the victim. They had multiple opportunities to raise that prospect that the truck could have hit the victim. They failed to do so in a timely and forthright fashion. In fact, they repeatedly claimed that the truck did not strike the victim. 2, given the well-known outrage in the community, they knew, or they ought to have known, that Cotton appearing at a medical call after publicly agreeing to step aside pending the investigation was inappropriate in the extreme. These actions excuse me. These actions, by Cotton appearing and by Bishop allowing it as acting chief, display both an obvious disregard for the gravity of the situation and extremely poor judgment. Both of these actions, in our view, can reasonably be expected to tarnish, impair, or otherwise negatively impact the reputation of the fire service in the municipality in contravention of paragraph 18C of the bylaw. The discipline options available, as they were at various times, both chief of the department, their discipline must be administered by council rather than at the departmental level. And that happens on the recommendation of the Director of Protective Services and the CAO. Given the potentially extreme negative impact on the reputation of the fire services, the authors submit that a discharge from their positions as chief is warranted in accordance with paragraph 19 of the bylaw. The second option that we had available to us was essentially the shutdown of the volunteer fire department through a process called revocation of registration. So we could have recommended the revocation of registration and the disbandment of the department on a temporary or permanent basis. And it should be noted, and I'll stop here and note it, it should be noted that prior to the enactment of the above noted bylaw, revocation and disbandment was the only option available to the municipality to deal with chiefs or departments who were deemed to be acting inappropriately. The authority available to us in this option is under a policy of the municipality. To preface that, I'll say, though, that all fire departments in Nova Scotia are required to register with their municipality. It's a requirement of the Municipal Government Act. Paragraph 11 of the municipality's fire service department registration policy is excerpted. The municipality may withdraw in whole or in part the registration of a fire department upon the recommendation of the CAO if the CAO is no longer satisfied the department is capable of providing the services covered by this registration. This option was considered. However, it would have required the expansion of the call coverage area of the Oxford, Spring Hill, and Westchester fire departments and a revision of the mutual aid and dispatch protocols. We were prepared to do that, and we did make those arrangements. In the end, that is not the option that was selected. More importantly, though, it is effectively a shutdown of the department with all of the potential implications on response times, the potential implications for protection of persons and property, and the ability to attract and retain volunteers, and also perhaps even insurance rates for property owners when we think about proximity to fire halls and the impact on your homeowner's insurance. While it does remain an option for the municipality, should the discharge of the chiefs prove to be ineffective or problematic, it is not recommended at this time. So based on this information and the authority available to us in these two options, we drew a number of conclusions. And this report presents, again, the findings and recommendations of the Director of Protective Services and the Chief Administrative Officer as required by paragraph 19 of the bylaw, as previously quoted. I want to say, though, that as we evaluated those options, and as we discussed them in a closed session with council yesterday, a number of principles that were top of mind for all of us, and that is respect for the victim and his family, to ensure that the community remains safe, to ensure the continuity of service, to uphold the integrity and the good name of the fire service in Cumberland County. There are over 300 volunteer firefighters in Cumberland County in 16 departments who do an exceptional job every day. We wanted to ensure that we upheld the integrity of that group and to uphold the integrity of the municipality. It's important to remember that this report and these recommendations, while they are very serious, are only relevant to the actions of Cotton and Bishop subsequent to the emergency response at the Poison Lake incident. I'm sorry, I can't think of a better name for the incident. All finding of fact and potential charges and liability are the responsibility of the police, the justice system, and the courts. So our recommendations to council, Director Cole and I have made these recommendations to council, that Gerald Cotton be discharged pursuant to section 18 and 19 of the bylaw, that Andrea Bishop be discharged pursuant to section 18 and 19 of the bylaw, That council directs staff to recover all municipally owned property from Gerald Cotton and Andrea Bishop. That council directs staff to notify Bishop and Cotton to remove all signage from personal vehicles that allude to the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department. To arrange that Cotton and Bishop be excluded indefinitely from the property at 59 Wentworth Collingwood Road by way known as the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department by way of a notice under the Protection of Property Act. To direct staff as soon as possible and safely to change the locks at 59 Wentworth Collingwood Road, the fire station, and ensure that the new chief has access to keys for distribution to members, and to direct staff to arrange for an external review of the incident and report back to council. Your worship, that is our report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrod. I would now ask council if there's a councillor willing to make a motion to approve this resolution. So moved by Councillor Lockhart, seconded by Councillor McCormick. Sure, let's read the resolution just to be clear one more time.
This is the formal resolution giving effect, or the council will consider giving effect to the recommendations. I don't think I'll go through all of the whereas provisions of the resolution because those are detailed in the report. But the actions are these. Be it resolved that Gerald Cotton, having acted contrary to Section 18C of the bylaw to establish and regulate fire departments in the municipality of the County of Cumberland, is hereby discharged from the position of Fire Chief for Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department pursuant to Section 19 of the bylaw. Be it further resolved that Andrea Bishop, having acted contrary to Section 18C of the bylaw to establish and regulate fire departments in the municipality of the County of Cumberland, is hereby discharged in the position of Fire Chief for the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department pursuant to Section 19 of the bylaw. Be it further resolved that staff be directed to recover all municipally owned property from Gerald Cotton and Andrea Bishop. Be it further resolved that staff be directed as soon as safely and practicably possible change the locks at the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department, ensuring that the new chief has access for distribution as appropriate. Be it further resolved that Gerald Cotton and Andrea Bishop be notified that they are required to move all signage for any personal motor vehicles that allude to the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department. Be it further resolved that Gerald Cotton and Andrea Bishop be barred and excluded from entering the property at 59 Wentworth Collingwood Road, Nova Scotia, known as the Collingwood and District Volunteer Fire Department on an indefinite basis, and that notices under the Property Protection of Property Act in relation to these premises be prepared and served on them. And finally, be it further resolved that staff are directed to arrange for an independent external review of the response of the department to the call for assistance at a snowmobile accident near Poison Lake, Cumberland County on February 21st, 2025. Your worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrod. Any discussion on the resolution and motion that is before us? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I want people to know this has weighed heavily on this council's mind since last weekend. I want to thank council for the countless hours and the pressure that you've been under and the work you've done and the work we did yesterday in getting to this place. It's not easy. It wasn't easy. And I appreciate everything that's been done by Director Cole, CAO Harrod, Deputy CAO McCracken, and all of the county staff. And to act so swiftly and so decisively is exactly what was required of this situation. And thank you to each and every one of you. I would now ask for a motion to adjourn. So moved by Deputy Mayor Gould. We are now adjourned, and we will